would you like to discover how to be your true self? Sam will tell us how to do it. He's a healer, reader, and speaker, and he's into awareness, spirituality, and life. So Sam, tell us about how did you learn about how to be your true self, and how can entrepreneurs become their true self? Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
That's a great question, and I'm still learning to be my authentic self 24/7. Basically, long story short, we live in a world where there's a lot of distractions, where we get pulled in here and there with our interests, but really don't understand our true self of learning how to properly be your authentic self without trying. So I guess at the end of the day, just like anyone else would go through life, some struggles, and you overcome it. And after a couple hurdles and struggles you go through, you see like repetitive similar cycles that's trying to say something to you, the universe, in terms of these similar traits or karma where you might be bumping into. So if you come to a realization of your own true self, of learning the process of how life gives you what you need, you can really step into your authentic self without having to try, and just learn from the bumps in the road as you live.
Thank you. Tell us your blueprint for how someone could discover how to be their true self. Like, what steps would they take?
To be honest with yourself, to take full responsibility of every action or the words you say in terms of how the outcome works. And just regardless of where you are, where you're coming from, just know your own self-awareness, what really resonates with you, because the feeling is always there. But sometimes it's just a discernment how we could understand what's really for us, because as we grow, again, you bring upon layers and upon layers on belief system, cultural backgrounds, but deep down internally within, I guess you want to say, your soul, that's always there, that's shining the light to remind you to come back to your authentic self.
Thank you. How does someone know when they are not their true self?
I would say it always comes from a feeling, just maybe some anxiety, unsure of how you are in the presence in the moment. And there's always, I would say, to simplest way to simplify, the temperature in your body, if you're getting hot or cold. And in that temperature changes, if you kind of understand your own physicality, what feels presence of good or bad, what feels natural or anxious that comes up all of a sudden. So if you know how to kind of discern that, you'll know of the awareness of how you should be in each moment.
Thank you. How does someone become more themselves when they feel they are not truly living their life?
From my personal experience, I really think alone time is very helpful. Because if you're around a lot of people, you're getting distractions from this person's opinion or that person's opinion or their beliefs and cultural background. But if you're with yourself alone, a lot of these, I guess, issues or trying to figure out where we stand in life usually comes up internally without the distractions. And if you sit with those moments of these uncomfortable feelings and really just pause and sit with these type of emotions, clarity will come through and give you some reasonings why you went through this and how you could learn so you can navigate through these difficult obstacles for the next time. So I would say, like, if you're alone a lot, self-reflection, honesty, and just really surround yourself with a small group of like best friends that you could truly be your authentic self, and then you could get some feedbacks. But in terms of like a big group trying to mingle and figure it out, I don't think that'll really help you too much. It's just too much information from all sorts of life, if that makes sense.
Thank you. How can someone reach an awakening or you could say, multiple awakenings that will cause them to peel back all the layers of them that are not really them. That, for example, all the layers of them that are preconditioned based on what, I don't know, your mother thought, or what your, I don't know, your grandma thought, or what other people that are surrounding you thought of you. How can you like trigger those kind of awakenings that lead you to live a life that is fully aligned with who you are?
I would say two things. For me, it took a long time for me to come to my realizations. I have to come to a learning process where I'm constantly in the same movement, or constantly this battle within myself. I think one very important thing is to get over a fear that we all hold on to, a different belief system that you're kind of fearful of. And another thing is you hit rock bottom. So we all go through life's ups and downs, but at the end of the day, we all have a personal goal or desire we want to. And sometimes when we go through this process of reaching our goals or desires, we go through bumps in the roads, and there's always a hurdle that's always there, trying to maybe stop us. This is where the fear and ego comes. So once you face your own fear or ego and come to a realization to accept what the blockage is in kind of the rock bottom you hit, you'll have to get back up, try again. So it's really removing the fear and keep trying over and over again, because I really truly believe anything and everything that we go through is on purpose. There's no accidents, but it's just to for the individual realize how to discern these type of obstacles to get over the fear. And once you get over the fear, you have more clarity in terms of how to think or how to process these type of situations where you have your own type of awakening or enlightenment. And it just takes time, and you just got to be patient with yourself as well, too.
Thank you. How can an entrepreneur accept their true self?
Well, I think there's a couple of steps in the process of you really come to a realization of your true self. I think one of the very important things is and know exactly what or who you want to be in life. So you discern anything, everything else that's going to be distraction. So you have that one tunnel vision, one goal to reach. And in the process, I don't think there's like, you come to realization of you becoming your true self and that's all. I think there's layers upon layers, just like the Buddha would say, the latter day of the law. So you're climbing up, and sometimes it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But once you keep going to your goal, you're shedding away the old layers, your old belief systems, the old fears that you'll cling on to really have clarity of your own true self, of what you want or who you are. And I think that will be like one of these steps to come to realization for your true self. In any type of industry, environment, especially as a boss, you have a lot of responsibility, but if you as a boss, if you know the goal of the company, and even though you have a lot of other people to deal with and a lot of different backgrounds, the communication needs to be there, and realization, and then that feeling, you can't discern that. So that feeling that always comes up, and just accept whatever feeling comes through, and to realize what's right for you or not in the process.
Thank you. For those multi-passionate entrepreneurs, how can they truly realize what is their true self? Because, for example, for me, I feel like there are so many levels of me that, there are so many different ways to self-express, that sometimes I feel divided in so many different directions. And it's not like I'm not just one thing. I'm multi-passionate, and I always will be. So how can someone be multi-passionate and kind of like develop in so many different areas at the same time?
That's a great question. I try to make it as simple as possible, because I think all of us, we have multiple passionate talents. But to make it simple, for example, if you have 5 different passions, break it down to 3 different passions, and then break it down to 2. So you're kind of narrowing it down to one vision, one goal, but still at the same time, you could still utilize the different passions or the talents that you have in the one desire, the one goal that you're going for.
Thank you. Give us an example of how you discovered your true self and what that meant for your personal development and your breakthroughs that you've had in the process.
To be very specific, I myself, just like you, I had a lot of desires and a lot of passions and a lot of talents, if you want to say. But that really never got me anywhere. I was going here, I was doing the gym, and then I did some bodybuilding competitions, but that never felt good. Before that, I was a plumber for 20 couple of years, but even though I missed it, I loved it, something internally was telling me, my soul was saying, this is not for you, this is not for you. Narrowing down all the things that I'm interested to one thing that I'm passionate about, that I can do for the rest of my life, that I can contribute to the world and help others. So since with my background and my awakening state, I came to realization we're all very similar, even though we have different backgrounds, different color skin. We're all human beings. We have this essence of trying to be who we are to help and contribute. So I guess in the process of my life, I was all over the place. And then I guess accidents happen, come to realization to really narrow it down to where I should be. So for an example, I came across you because I entered a speech competition. And one of the things I love to do is share my stories, listen to people, and just kind of come to a realization that we're all collectively similar, but we could share by telling and speaking up vocally so people could understand. And for me, I try to explain or express in a way where when the people are listening, they could kind of visualize my explanation. So from my mind, I love to kind of be creative to express in such a way where people could kind of resonate. For an example, like my background is plumbing, but I'm also a healer. Really quick. Internally, as human beings, we all have the system as the plumbing. We have vessels, organs, parts, pumps, just like in the plumbing industry. But in life, we go through these struggles where it gives us blockages, clogged arteries, like weak lungs, digestive system. So I'm going to just weave in and out with the plumbing background. So with the pumps, that's our heart, where it's pumping our blood to the vessels, wherever it needs to our muscles, to our arteries, to our organs, to clear out all the accumulated things that we don't need. But as a plumber as well, we do maintenance. We're doing clearing out the clogs, if you want to say. So to kind of put it together, I'm incorporating my plumbing background with the understanding of how healing works, to kind of put it together to get the people to understand the same metaphoric way to heal or help each other, if that makes sense.
Thank you. Tell us about unblocking the blockages in an entrepreneur's life. How can they do that?
In a boss or entrepreneur's life, one very important thing, you have to discern very specifically, and you have to be honest with the pros and cons in terms of whatever that person is going through. And to clear out the blockages or the worries or the fears, again, you always have to come to a realization and face the blockages. You can't always deny things when it's coming up consistently, like a latent employee that comes into work, you have to, I'm so sorry, I'm just breaking out. You have to come to, you should take actions right away. I mean, instead of like hesitating and waiting and try to figure out when something happens, direct it right away. Because if you wait later on, other things might accumulate because our minds are very creative where it can bring layers upon layers where it won't be clear and it'll be very foggy. But once you have a problem in terms of any things that you go into life as an entrepreneur, address it right away. Once you address it right away, in that moment, it'll be clear to know what the blockage is and how to remove the blockages or have a different type of frame of work to work around these type of blockages, physically and emotionally, I think as well. You're on mute.
Give us 3 examples of what exactly you mean by that. Like some practical examples of how, let's say, someone could encounter a particular situation, a blockage in their life, or a situation or a problem, and how they would take action on it immediately in order to remove that blockage.
Okay, perfect example, Arjun. At a workplace, especially as an entrepreneur, you have employees who work for you. If you have a couple of people that works for you and one of them are slacking as a participant, as a helper, or as a team, you got to address that person right away up front. Depending on the person, you might want to address them in a team meeting or to the side to really to find out the root cause of these blockages in your workplace, if that makes sense. Also, personally, I think we all go through life and very similar karmic situations would come up. I'll give you an example. Meeting specific people in different groups of places. Some people might attract, let's use the word narcissist people, because some people are very open and some other people are aware of who can I allow them to help me in some type of way in terms of gaining, I guess if you want to use power or manipulate in a beneficial way. So people might go in and out of relationships attracting these type of people, even in the workplace or personally. And you got to kind of discern what these individuals are kind of attracting me from. And then once you have that realizations of different scenarios, the same experiences, you could kind of discern who to maneuver around or who you want to allow them to have access you to be friends with or workplace. Because at the end of the day, people are people. We all want some help or in a different type of way. And if you could kind of discern the life patterns of how you are living your life and know how to say no to specific people so you don't get sucked into these type of bad behaviors, I think that'll help as well. One more, right? Again, I really truly believe, even though we are in the environment of how we are collectively doing our part, it goes back to your inner self where you have to know how to know the difference, what's right for you or not. Because there's always this feeling, there's always this intuition, always this sensation that comes up for you. And to know what's for you or not, I think if you keep on practicing and discerning these differences, eventually it'll be very automatic without the hesitations and worries about what you might think is the wrong choice. So trusting yourself more and following through with no expectations and utilizing your skill set in whatever outcome that comes through from your action, I think that'll be clear to know to clear the blockages internally, emotionally, physically as well.
Thank you. So, I mean, in the examples that you mentioned earlier, I found that, for example, over the last, let's say, 7 years, I've been attracting, you can say, contractors that come to work at random times, you know? So initially, when I hired them, they agreed to come at a certain time and they were all good. And then kind of gradually they started fizzling out. And they're like, oh yeah, I have, I don't know, Wi-Fi issues, I have whatever issues. And then they come randomly and it drives me absolutely insane. And then the example that you gave with the narcissism as well, what I discovered is that I also was attracting a lot of narcissists in my life. And then gradually with time, I started to realize that actually I think I'm attracting them because it's not only that I'm an empath, but it's like I have low self-esteem. And because of that, they're teaching me that I need to have a lot more self-love, because if I don't, they will continue to appear until I learn to love myself enough as to put the kind of boundaries that would perhaps make them invisible to me. I'm not sure if that's how your opinion is around them as well, but you can tell me what your opinion is about those two situations. But for example, in the one with the contractors, I have found that I haven't yet solved the issue because I still have contractors that show up at times that absolutely drive me insane, and actually they are causing havoc on my ability to sleep because they come, you know, sometimes at midnight, sometimes after midnight, you know, and they're supposed to come, like, you know, during the day so that I can actually, you know, work with them. But you know, like what it seems to happen is that I hire them, they work okay for a while, and then gradually they fizzle out, and then I don't know what I'm supposed to like learn from this, because I feel like I can't fire them because they are, you know, I've spent already thousands of hours training them, so like hiring new people is just like a big hassle for me.
I really love and appreciate those two experiences that you shared. As a plumber, as a contractor, I could completely agree with you. And I love what you said, self-love, but also you got to know your boundaries. You can't allow this to happen once or twice, more than that. Be discerned, be in your power. They work for you. If you don't like something, you can't just brush it off and say, oh, they're busy, they'll come, it'll get done. No, 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 no. This is where it's making your life more difficult, and at the same time, is making them look bad. So if you're clear, have boundaries, and set the standards a little high to them, they'll work accordingly. You can't, I learned in the construction industry, you have to be discerned and very stern in terms of what you want, when you want, and how you want it. And at the end of the day, they work for you. You pay them. If that they're not making the demands of what your agreement, you don't have to pay them. And again, it's unfortunate that you have to go through this with narcissist people. Maybe these contractors might be narcissists as well. They're giving you a story and dance for them to do it their way on their time. Meanwhile, it shouldn't be because you're hiring them. So I would suggest to have more boundaries, speak up with stern voice and tell them A, B, C, D, this was not in the contract, and reflect it back to them from your shoes to allow them to see how you feel in terms of their actions or whatever they're doing. Because that's not right, because it gives bad rep to good contractors, good plumbers, because of these incompetent workers. And I would say, in my opinion, when you're hiring these contractors or construction workers, the best way to pick the right ones would be word of mouth. Even though on the internet, they give you 5 stars, 6 stars reviews, that might not be all 100% accurate. But for you to really have the right workers for you before you hire them. Feel them out. Do a little walkthrough. Ask them specific questions. Ask questions to them that you know and see how they respond, if they're honest or not. From that, you'll know how to discern the narcissist or these bad contractors that's not doing their proper work. And talking about narcissists, the other week I took a class on narcissism. And for sure, us people like empath, we attract these people that takes advantage of us or kind of manipulates some experiences for them to feel like the victim. When you notice something like that, again, take the action right there and then. Express to them what you feel or how you feel in that moment. So I'm not saying to give them their own taste of the medicine, but just to vocalize, to share. Listen, what you did was not nice. This is how I feel. And see their response. If they're reactive and if they play the victim role, you know there's something wrong. Then you take a step back and you don't have to deal with them. And then after a while, you ignore them, you say no to them, they'll leave you alone. But you just have to discern with some of these people because this is what they've been doing for however many years to survive. And they, I'm going to say, prey upon people like us because we're very nice and open and helpful. And that's when they take advantage. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it does. Tell us where entrepreneurs can connect with you.
I have Facebook and Instagram. Right now in the process of redoing my website, but if they're related to get in contact with me, my Instagram is the Galactic Medium, and on Facebook is Sam Kim. So that would be the best way to reach me.
Thank you. Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health change makers to live your healthiest life ever.